So, als nächstes Thinking Basketball mit einem Hit. Why is Jimmy Butler so good in the playoffs? Jimmy Butler heute mit dem Game 4 gegen Boston. Es steht 13-0. Nee. Es steht. Warte mal, wie viel steht es bei Miami gegen? Ich muss mal kurz. Oder? Mal kurz hier was gucken. Warte. Nee, Game 3 kommt heute Abend und Miami führt 2-0 und haben die beiden Spiele in Miami auch gespielt, in Boston gespielt. Also das nächste Spiel ist ein Heimspiel für Miami. Und Heimspiele werden zu 75% in den Playoffs von den Heimteam gewonnen. Ne? Nur mal so zur Info. Ab in das Video. Why is Jimmy Butler so good in the playoffs? Nice.
Keep doing this. In the last 2 years, how does Jimmy Butler keep doing this? In the last 2 years, he's gone from 22 points per game during the season to 29 points per game in the playoffs.
That's
and
insane.
I've never heard a good explanation for how he's able to upgrade like this. I mean, watch these 4 plays from the opening quarter of the Eastern Conference Finals, where playoff Jimmy torched the Celtics for 35 points. Does anything jump out? How has he gone for 40 6 times in the last 2 postseasons after not having a single 40-point
Kein einziges 40-Punkte-Spiel in der Season und dann 6 in der Postseason, also in den Playoffs.
game in the regular season since 2017?
Bruder.
Well, after watching him closely, I think I have an idea.
Also ich habe das Gefühl, Jimmy, um kurz reinzugrätschen, ich habe das Gefühl, Jimmy weiß ganz genau, wie er an die Plätze kommt, wo er easy scoren kann. Spielt sehr abwartend, spielt sehr schlau. Läuft nicht einfach in die Zone rein und versucht einen Foul zu ziehen oder sowas, sondern immer mit einem Hopstep, immer mit einem Hintergedanken dahinter. Und die Boston weiß einfach nicht, wie sie das verteidigen sollen. Ob sie Jason Tatum draufpacken, der reicht nicht. Darren Williams reicht auf keinen Fall, den haben wir ja auch letztes Mal versucht, Digga, das ist komplett in die Hose gegangen. Also ja.
Jimmy Butler is quietly a basketball genius.
Oh ja, das stimmt.
It's subtle at first. Instead of bending defenses around, he usually just takes what they give him. On this first play, he wants Bam to set the screen because he knows Rob Williams will drop. He hesitates a little to get Rob moving back to the basket, but that's so his step back is basically uncovered. Butler has been around league average from the mid-range for a while, but this year he shot these at 47%. So if defenses throw a drop coverage at him, he'll just walk into comfortable looks. He calls Williams up again on that second play we saw, and this is just to set a trap for him. He goes to pull up at the free throw line, but gets a little closer, so Rob goes to challenge the shot, and that's all to set up the up and under, and he draws a foul. That was a ticky-tack call, but Butler is an absolute master of using pump fakes in the paint, attacking a retreating big man only to stop on a dime, spin, and fake, so he gets that little lean and the and one.
Und wie schlau, dass er gesehen hat, dass Mitchell Robinson seinen Arm so ein bisschen weiter unten hatten, als er sich gedreht hat und dann da mit den Armen rein und versuchen, den Ball zu scoren, halten und ins Foul zu ziehen.
This is basically his version of a dream shake, where you stop and turn only to use the defender's recovering momentum against him. And so much of Jimmy's driving game and short mid-range works because of these pivots and pump fakes. Here he's dancing with Derek White, runs into traffic.
Du kannst auch nicht Derek White auf Jimmy Butler packen, ehrlich nicht.
But pump fakes White off his feet for another soft foul. But the free throws aren't key here. The setup is, because a few minutes later, he's isolated against White again, drives left into almost identical help, but now White is glued to the floor on those up fakes, so Jimmy uses his size to wheel back for a fade. And this is the thing.
Das muss mir halt auch merken für mein Game, ne? Wenn sobald ich sehe, dass die Leute die ganze Zeit springen, das ausnutzen, indem ich zum Korb ziehe, und sobald ich sehe, die bleiben auf dem Boden, anfangen zu fallen.
Butler counters based on how he feels the defense playing him. This one is all about manipulating the shot block.
so ein bisschen was von MJ, ne? So fühlen, wie die Verteidigung steht und dann deren Schwächen auszunutzen, anstatt einfach zu scoren, wie man immer scoret.
Blocking Mitchell Robinson, slowly coming off the screen and looking at the roll man twice to see what Robinson commits to, then driving left only to stop and pivot. Robinson thinks it's safe to go back to his man, but Butler's too big and it's a great look. A few minutes later, he's attacking out of pick and roll, drives into the defense, and when he hops to pivot, he just shoots it instead. And when you've seen that jump stop enough, you aren't always expecting the shot.
Ja, weil du halt denkst, er fängt an, sich zu drehen und zu gucken, wo er den Shot am Rim kriegen kann.
Viel in these little moments around the basket is almost telepathic, driving into the paint and pausing on the jump stop because he sends Drew Holiday in the air, then jumping to shoot. In the previous game in that series, he's attacking off the dribble, goes to that jump stop, but instantly flips one up. And
das wird lustig, Digga, aber das immer noch kein Tor gefallen ist, ist halt in dem Sinne.
He's shooting right away here.
Ich lasse mir gerade nebenbei die Ergebnisse für das Dortmund-Augsburg-Spiel reingeben, ja, nicht das
to throw off his man and the help shot blocker who isn't ready to jump. Impressive. By using all these jump stops, fakes, and pivots, Butler is essentially disguising his pitches here. So even when he catches it off a cut like this, the fake and the shot look the same. Speaking of cuts, Jimmy is a master of moving around and finding little creases in the defense. Normally, when a team sets up an empty side pick and roll, it's so they attack into all this open space. But Butler knows they want to bring an extra defender over to neuter the action, so he instinctively floats away to the open area on the baseline for a little jumper.
Das ist anderes Level einfach, ne?
Watch him read Jason Tatum's eyes here, so he can sneak backdoor undetected, and he has a layup on this one, but they just miss him. On this one,
das wäre ein easy Layup gewesen, auf jeden Fall. Bruder, das ist halt jahrelanges Gefühl für das Spiel aufgebaut.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is matched up with him in the backcourt, so Jimmy realizes he can out-sprint him down the court, and that lets him waltz into a foul line pull-up. His movement instincts even show up on.
Er shootet nicht das, was er normalerweise shootet, sondern er nimmt die Shots, die open sind, die hochprozentige Shots in der Situation sind.
The offensive glass.
Was halt heutzutage der einzige, der mir noch einfällt, Jokic macht, weißt du?
Where he drives and dishes here, immediately realizes the shot is going up, so he slips into that open space and tips it in for an and one.
Bruder.
And all this works because Jimmy is so big, listed at 6'7" and 230 pounds. But it also works because he's a master of using that size and strength, sealing defenders for easy catches at the rim, and you'll also see him get a ton of cheap buckets in transition by leaking out and out-leaping defenders for passes in the air like this right around the basket. Fittingly, this innocuous technique set up maybe the biggest shot of his career. Trailing by 2 with 2 seconds left, he threw this in while falling down to force overtime.
Was für ein Shot.
In the clinching game against Milwaukee. And hey, if Michael Jordan's most famous highlight has a little push-off, so can Jimmy's. But to me, the ingeniousness on this play is that the pass arrives late. Jimmy recognizes that, so he stops to seal his defender on one side of the hoop because he tracks the ball so well. Reading.
Also in dem Moment nochmal abgepasst, wann der Verteidiger wo sein wird und wo der Ball am Ende hinkommen würde. Und das am Ende so predicted, dass er genug Platz hat vom Verteidiger, dass er den Shot nehmen kann.
The flight of the ball like a center fielder is a Butler special. Missing a pull-up, then instantly finding it off the rim for a quick do-over. This skill is an adaptive mental mapping of the game that gives him an advantage over most players and really helps him on defense. Butler is one of the
das, wofür er halt eigentlich damals in der NBA bekannt war, dass seine Defense auf einem anderen Level
best ever at reading passing lanes and picking off deliveries. And it's because he can track the ball and his opponent's eyes like he possesses the Sharingan, scanning Al Horford here, checking the target, then sitting on the pass for the interception. He's on the weak side on this one against the Knicks, and the crafty Jalen Brunson tries to manipulate him by head faking to the top, but Butler just reads his soul and snatches it anyway. And he sensed something was up and started moving to the corner before Brunson threw it. Seriously, this dude is on another level. Most players are thinking about taking away the cutter here, but Butler tags him and goes and takes the skip pass out of the air. That's just ridiculous. Butler always seems to know where everyone is and what they want to do. And since he's under control and moving at his own speed, that helps his playmaking too. In Game 1 against Boston, there were multiple plays where he drove in to help, understanding exactly where the open man was, setting up Caleb Martin trifectas. He has Rob Williams on a switch this time, tries a little fake to throw off his balance, but he can't quite get free, goes to pivot spin, and knows Martin's open in the corner off that help.
Bruder, ja, hat er überhaupt da hingucken können?
Pivot spin.
Okay, das war der Moment, wo er gemerkt hat, alles klar, Jaylen Brown ist on me. Aber das war halt auch nur so ein kleiner Head-Turn, er hat nicht wirklich in die Richtung geguckt. Und da muss Caleb Martin in der Corner open sein.
And knows Martin's open in the corner.
Vielleicht hat er sogar nochmal, warte mal.
Quite get free, goes to pivot spin.
Guck mal, da hat er Jaylen Brown erkannt. Er guckt nie wieder in die Richtung. Er guckt aber noch einmal hier in die Richtung, um zu sehen, ob... So schlau, das ist ein anderes Level. Er springt nochmal in die Luft und guckt in die Richtung, um zu sehen, ob Marcus Smart rausrotiert ist und Bam Adebayo frei ist oder ob Marcus Smart immer noch glued an Bam Adebayo ist und Caleb Martin frei ist. Und dann hat er gesehen, alles klar, Marcus Smart steht immer noch bei Bam. Dann kann ich rüber zu Caleb Martin schicken.
Martin's open in the corner off that help. And in a huge possession down the stretch, Butler again worked his way into the paint, jump stopped, and when he felt corner help, instantly fed Caleb for a huge dagger. The thing is, Butler isn't even a great passer. I thought he missed this slip cut here, but he's good enough to be the playmaker the Heat need, patiently prodding and probing defenses until they overcommit to his scoring. We've seen him drive out of pick and roll, and here he just skips along to pull the coverage toward him to open up Kevin Love's pop behind the line. Now rewatch that first quarter play. He waves off Bam Adebayo because he doesn't want Jaylen Brown switching onto him, and that also frees up Love to pop into space. So Jimmy gives Love the briefest look, Rob bites at it, and then the lane is free to attack and score. So the next time down, when Butler gets the switch onto Williams, he just walks him to the other side of the court into an easy 17-footer. I'm not sure anyone dribbles into the corners more than Jimmy Butler like this to find something to...
Da kommen die 2K-Games durch. Die 2K-Taktik kommt da einfach durch, Digga. Es geht nicht anders.
...work with. On this one, he tells Martin to clear out the far corner, but instead of the screener popping into this space like we saw with Love earlier, Butler decides to just dribble over there and catches his man off guard with a pull-up. And that brings us to Jimmy's outside shooting, which seems to magically improve in the playoffs. He's a career 32% shooter during the year, but that jumps to 35% in the postseason. It's a small enough sample that some of it might be luck, but also, what kind of 32% shooter relocates in big moments for perfect dagger threes? I don't actually think he's much better than his regular season numbers, but some players shrink in big moments while Butler lives for them. Down 2 against the Bucks in Game 4, he lollygagged his way into this go-ahead 3, then on the next possession, just ran down the court like a maniac and dropped in another backbreaker, only to declare, "This is my specialty, my specialty." Or, as Kevin Harlan put it when Butler hit this long backbreaker to clinch Game 1 in Boston,
"Oh, Jimmy frickin' Butler puts it in!"
Yeah, Jimmy frickin' Butler. What else can you say?
Der hätte niemals von Chicago weggehen dürfen. Niemals.
Doesn't have the fastest first step, a ton of...
Aber ich gönne es Miami und Jimmy immer noch, Digga. Ist ein gutes Team, ist ein starkes Team, ist ein sehr hart arbeitendes Team, Digga. Und ich finde auch sehr krass, dass sie das verdient haben. Ne? Normal müssen die jetzt immer noch den Job is not done. Ne? Wie Kobe mal damals gesagt hat, Job is not done. Sie müssen jetzt nochmal gegen Boston zu Hause gewinnen. Zweimal. Aber sie haben schon mal die schwerste Aufgabe hinter sich gebracht.
the fancy moves, and he isn't even a great shooter, but he reads the game incredibly well, understands how to manipulate players in his vicinity, and will take what defenses give him. And all that makes him perfect for the tactical counters, in-game adjustments, and strategic flexibility of the playoffs. Along with, he's just Jimmy frickin' Butler. To support this channel directly, check out patreon.com/thinkingbasketball.
Und das sind genau diese Dinge, warum ich bei Thinking Basketball abonniert habe. Das müssen wir uns auch nochmal angucken. Er hat nämlich auch eine Series am Start. Die heißt, wie hießen die? Best Peaks, Greatest Peak Series. Und
LeBron James is the greatest player ever. I don't ever want to.
Fängt ja schon sehr gut an. Da quatschte über die Greatest Peaks, über die von wegen halt, Michael Jordan, die besten Spieler und wann deren Peak war, wann deren beste Zeit war in dem Game. Und analysiert das, wodurch die am meisten gescored haben, Link Drives und sowas. Im Endeffekt, wie er es gerade bei Jimmy Butler gemacht hat. Und ich finde gerade als jemand, der sich sehr krass für Basketball interessiert, also bei mir zumindest so, sehr, sehr interessant, Digga. Deswegen Thinking Basketball auch ein sehr, sehr guter Channel. Das werden wir uns auf jeden Fall auch nochmal reinziehen. Greatest Peaks. Ich glaube, ein Video davon hatten wir irgendwie schon mal angeguckt. Frag mich jetzt aber nicht mal welches. Ich habe mir die alle schon mal privat angeguckt, auf jeden Fall. Das steht fest.